Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cyber Pro podcast. Industry leaders share their insights. It's about 5 questions in 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. So let's get to it. Question number one, right out of the gate for you. Who are you and what do you do?
Thanks, Rick. I'm happy to be here. So I'm Damjan Cvetanovic, coming from Serbia, a small country in Southeastern Europe, but a very interesting one regarding cybersecurity talents. Every day I see more and more folks coming in. And what's especially interesting about me that I've been doing ethical hacking and penetration testing for a lot of years before I even knew that you can actually make a whole career out of that. So I just made LinkedIn one day, and then because I even had an OCP, pretty well-known certificate in the pen testing area, then just people started asking me, who are you, do you want to work for us? And that's kind of how I got in the first job as a penetration tester. Then I've moved into more, when you want to deep dive into something, then probably it's application security to understand the whole code base, what's really happening on the cloud, on the back end, on the front end, in database. And afterwards, another logical stack that's not so uncommon in cybersecurity was security management, because to really have a holistic picture and holistic view of the whole company as one person, one technical guy, you can't do too much to protect the whole company. I needed to also pay attention to some physical security during some engagements, also people controls, also some other non-technical controls. And now I'm a CEO and co-founder of Until Informed, a pretty nice product that I guess we can also mention during this podcast later. Overall, I'm just a regular guy that's more into sports during non-working hours and drinks beer.
You mentioned that you started kind of out the path, kind of the same way as most people do, that certified ethical hacker path, kind of becoming a pen tester. I have a lot of people ask me, what does it mean to be a certified ethical hacker and to do penetration testing?
Yeah, well, if you are really interested to see what's behind it, means that because I'm also teaching at some universities, some academic departments, especially ethical hacking. That's my focus still when I'm teaching. Also, we have a private academy for that. I'm always telling people, if you're a good penetration tester, you can use Google much faster and much better than someone else, which doesn't have anything to do with cybersecurity. But that means if you're a web penetration tester and tomorrow you have a networking engagement, or you have to test a new car, or just jump into a new system like AI, ChatGPT, some prompt injections, prompt escapes, some new vulnerabilities, new stuff, you will be a good penetration tester. And that's basically it. It means that you can adapt to new technologies and think in the same way. Okay, how can I break this? How can I really, misuse this? And if you know some basics, some methodologies, I think you will do great. So that means just if you're certified, that means you've done specific exam. But if you're an ethical hacker, it means you have ethics and you understand how to break systems. I wouldn't focus specific on a certain region like web application security, which is pretty much the most popular nowadays and also the most interesting for me. But yeah, I would say definitely you're the best, best guy that uses Google in the whole IT space. I think penetration testers can find information. Actually, interesting story from a friend of mine who owns a penetration testing company was that he needed some legal advice and it was too expensive for the specific thing that he needed to do at that point in time. And he just found some, maybe dark web forums, but he found exactly what he needed. And in that case, and he actually made a legal agreement in a faster way, which is, a paradox that the penetration tester understands some legal things behind that. But yeah, it's a true and a recent story.
No, I love it. And I appreciate you sharing the story. Let's talk a little bit about misconceptions, right? We know that cybersecurity companies, companies that are buying cybersecurity struggle. They spend a lot of money, but they still get they still get breached or they get hacked or they get ransomed. But why do you think that is? And do you have any ideas of how we might be able to solve for that?
Yeah, definitely. I have a few ideas. I'm not sure what exact reasons are out there because there are a lot of reasons. But working as a, part of cybersecurity teams in multiple companies and spending so much money on a bunch of different tools, it's probably because there is a huge gap between the management. When I say management, I think maybe the CEO, the high level top management of a large company, huge gap between their understanding of what cybersecurity means. Maybe also the gap between the CFOs, Chief Financial Officers, understanding what that means, and the cybersecurity team that's on a lot of occasions too technical or they could be great, but there is a huge gap between their understanding and the real decision makers' understanding of what they should do. That's the harsh reality that I've seen on multiple occasions. So, and that's kind of why I started Intel Inform, because when you think about cybersecurity, just look at the past 10 data breaches. A lot of them are related to, phishing or something really simple that could be stopped. And I I'm trying on a daily basis to solve it in a very simple way. I've just gathered the most important things from threat intelligence, open source intelligence, cloud security, a lot of spaces there that are most common when you analyze the current landscape in cybersecurity. And I just wanted to, just bring them in one software solution that will tell you if you're vulnerable to those things, because penetration testing on its own or risk assessment or gap analysis or, SOC 2 compliance is not enough to protect you and your employees and even your physical office. So I would say that we should start, as in penetration testing, we should see what are the low-hanging fruits, such as the ethical hacker. I want to think in the same way as our potential attacker, our potential malicious actor. Just let's gather those data. Let's see what are the easiest ways to enter a company in a malicious way, and just put them in one unified space.
No, I love it, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. This has been phenomenally fun. I want everyone to know there's going to be some great bonus content coming out. But let's get to the last question for you. What is a current piece of technology that you just can't live without and it makes you smile every time you use it?
Well, I would say that that's pretty much my mobile phone, because it's kind of where your family is also there, your trips like booking, Airbnb, something like that, also your sports events. It's pretty much, it can be your Apple Watch or anything like that, but I would say the piece of technology is anything that you use and you check every 5 minutes a day. But in the same way, again, another paradox, but that's the piece of, that's the device that you should, just leave for your vacation, because you have to, just have a little pause from your favorite thing.
I love it. Damjan, thank you so much for being on the Cyber Pro podcast.
Yeah, and thank you, Rick, very much for having me here.
Thank you for tuning into the Cyber Pro podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and all of our cool bonus content.